Hi everyone, I thought I'd do a little lesson on Chat GPT because everyone's talking about it right now. And I'm sure you've been wondering, can Chat GPT help you with your OET? But just in case you don't know what Chat GPT is, then let me give you a quick summary. It's an artificial intelligence tool, it's free, and it's basically a model where you can type questions in and it will produce language for you, which is spookily good. And you can make changes and chat to it and ask it different things using prompts. So language teachers have been talking about this, all my colleagues have been talking about this. So if you're a language teacher who's also teaching the OET, this video might be useful for you. But it's also useful for you if you are an OET candidate and thinking, well, can this language simulator actually help me in my OET? So let me give you a quick example of what ChatGPT does. So first of all, after I've logged in, it's free to do, you just sign up. You can write a prompt, for example, write a Band 9 IELTS essay on the advantages and disadvantages of globalization here, and you click enter, and then the artificial intelligence tool, ChatGPT, quickly generates an essay for you. For example, you can see one coming up on the screen now. And you can see how fast it is, and actually it's pretty good. I'm not sure if it's a great IELTS essay, but it is actually quite a good essay. You don't need to watch all of it, just press stop generating and it will stop for you. So this works for IELTS, but does it work for OET? Can it help with your OET? Let's take a look. My first impressions are kind of, well, yes, it can and no, it can't. And I'm going to explain why. Or I'm going to say what is good about it and what its limitations are. It's a tool, it's just, it's being developed, so you can write your feedback, you can give your feedback, and I do, and we can make this tool better. But at the minute, it's a bit kind of yes and no, really. And as I said, I'm going to explain why there are some no's, why it's not so useful, and also why it can be useful for you in your OET. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Sona, and I'm your online OET tutor with Bose Learning, and I'm a premium preparation provider of the OET. Okay then, so what did I do first? I played around with it, and as I say, these are just my first impressions of Chat GPT. And I've asked it to write an OET discharge letter for a patient who's had a knee replacement. So these are the kinds of prompts you can use, and as you can see, it pretty much generates a lovely, grammatically correct letter with lovely language as well. So there we have some points, which are obviously plus points because you've got great language, you know it's correct, because it's artificially correct, so definitely correct. However, and there are some howevers here, what's not so great about this? Well, it's a good letter, but it's probably not a great OET letter. And let me pick out some things which are not so great about it. For example, we wouldn't actually say the hospital name here. You don't need to write that. You can write this much faster, so conciseness and clarity is not great. I'm writing to discharge your patient, and then you write their name. You don't need to say, I'm writing to inform you about a discharge. So I would say it's a little bit more wordy than necessary and more wordy than is correct for the OET, really. We wouldn't say, for example, that the patient is under the care of such and such a team. And again, here, much too wordy. Why write medication 1 and 2 and then go on to explain what these do? You can put that all on the same line. So it's far too wordy, and you wouldn't put your name in either. So there are some things which are wrong about this, but there are some great things about it as well. Look at this language. The patient has undergone fabulous bit of collocation there, a successful right knee replacement, and has made excellent or good progress. That's really nice. That's something you can take and keep and use, perhaps in your own letter. The patient has been advised, so we have a lovely bit of present perfect here. If you're a teacher, you can get your students to look at this. If you're a student, if you're a candidate, look at this language, try and think what it is. Has been advised to continue with their exercises at home and to avoid excessive weight-bearing activities on the right knee for the next 6 weeks. In addition, he or she has been prescribed the following. I quite like the way they've put the medication in bullet points. You don't need to do this, but that's quite nice. And also quite nice that they've been advised to take the medication and contact their healthcare provider if they experience any adverse effects. Again, some nice language there. And of course, the ending is also lovely. It's very generic, but it's something you can steal and you can use in your own letter. The main thing, of course, is that it is not following a prompt. So there's no real information there because it doesn't have a stimulus. So what happens if we put a stimulus in? So I went to the sample number 2 from the nurse's sample papers from the OET, and I asked Chat GPT to write a letter to a community health nurse, exactly as the OET has prompted me, using the information given. And all I do is I put in the URL. So I copy the URL in. Let's see what happens now. And this is what it generates. So it's using the information in the case notes. For example, we've got John Smith here. We've got that he's had a heart attack. However, again, it's not great. Even though it's picking up this information, it's not a great OET letter. There are lots of things which are not good about it. And what we can do is compare and contrast with the sample that they give you. And actually, this is something quite useful. Why not write the letter yourself, compare it with what the AI tool has given you, and then compare it with the model and look at the differences. So this is far too generic. We've got lots of missing information, for example, that he's going to live with his daughter. We have his past history here, which actually is not so important. We can see we've put that right in the third body paragraph rather than at the beginning. So compare and contrast. So in this case, the Chat GPT example is quite useful as a comparison to see what doesn't work well for your OET. And that's what I've said actually. I gave Chat GPT some feedback and I said not enough case note material was included because there was definitely lots of missing information, so it wouldn't have scored particularly highly in the OET. Now, that's writing. What about other things? What else can we do? Can we create some reading text? I know everyone just wants more reading samples. We want more material. So can Chat GPT help us with that? So I put in the prompt. It said, sure, here we go. And it's given me a text. Okay, it looks kind of about the right size. However, it doesn't really contain the right material and it's only given me one question with one answer. So of course, reading part B is multiple choice and it comes from various things like manuals or memos, and this is not it. So I stopped that and realized, oh dear, ChatGPT is not going to solve all my material problem and magically create me more material. So it's not going to help with the reading, unfortunately. What about speaking then? Can it help us with a speaking task? So again, what I did was I went to the samples from OET. I picked one, this is one, a medicine one, sample test 1, and I asked ChatGPT to create a dialogue between a GP and a patient using this material. And all I did was I put in the URL of the case notes of the role play card, sorry. So here we have what this artificial intelligence created. And you can see that it's a little bit basic and the GP isn't asking so many great questions. So I stopped that and I thought, let's do a little bit more. Let's be a little bit more specific and see if that helps. So all I did was I copy pasted actually the text from the role play card, and I asked Chat GPT, can you create a dialogue based on this information? Let's see what it produced. And again, it does this quite quickly, and you can already see some things which don't quite work in the OET. For example, it's far too medical. A patient would never say this. I'd never say I had a mild anterior acute myocardial infarction. Unless they're maybe medical themselves. So what I did was, again, I changed it. And you can do this as well. So stop generating that and ask it instead to recreate the dialogue using fewer medical terms. And you can see that it's done that much better now, so much fewer medical terms. And what you can do with this is have a look at the really nice language, like what brings you in today. It's great that you're thinking about your recovery. So that's quite nice. However, being the OET and actually for your everyday life, you have to ask more open questions at the start. So let's ask ChatGPT to do that, see what it generates. And here we go, some really nice open questions. How are you feeling today? Glad you came in. Can you tell me a bit more about what's been going on since you left hospital? So that's really nice open question. Sympathetic, I understand your concerns. Another open question, have you noticed any changes? So play around with it, see how you can make it more open, and then maybe ask it some closed questions instead. So there are definitely things you can do and language you can pick out. Okay, so in conclusion for ChatGPT, you can use it to give you some ideas and to pick out good language as well. Find out things that you can steal and use. You can also use it as a comparison with OET samples to see what works and what doesn't work. And you can use it to have a bit of techie fun, really. My advice at the moment is don't spend too much time on it. As I say, this is I'm recording this video in February 2023. It might move on in leaps and bounds very quickly, but at the moment it's not perfect. There are too many things wrong with it for OET great grades, so don't spend too much time on it, and don't take the answers as being 100% right, because they're not. They're just not. So don't do that. There are too many mistakes, and I think it might be quite nice just to look at what those mistakes are, as we've done. But as I said, it gives you some ideas, and I think that's what this tool is for at the moment. Well, thanks very much for watching this video. I hope it gave you some ideas and some help. If you are studying for your OET, why not check out my YouTube channel? The other videos on there, I've got over 200, and they really are focused on the OET, and I've got some great playlists as well, such as nursing, medicine, pharmacy, writing, speaking, etc. So take a look at that. If you like this video, please share this with a friend or a colleague, and why not subscribe to us as well. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully see you again. Take care. Bye bye.